White Sox fans, what a day on the South Side on a Monday afternoon. This is our post-game reaction show from a 9-0 White Sox shutout victory at Rate Field, in which Martin Perez, the White Sox starting pitcher, threw 6 no-hit innings. Welcome to Believe in the White Sox here on the Believe Network. I'm Greg Miraz, your host. We didn't have a show yesterday because of my work schedule, but in the second part of the show, we are going to recap the White Sox game against the Angels on Sunday. And I'm not going to talk for too long about that, but I want to talk about today's game. We're going to have 3 pinwheels of the game coming up very shortly. But before we do any of that, like my YouTube page, subscribe to it. Also subscribe to the pod on Apple Pods, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to your podcast. Subscribe to Believe in White Sox. And also, if you're an MLB fan in general, just search Believe Network on your Apple Pods or Spotify and check out all of our MLB shows. We've got great content creators across the platform who are delivering great baseball content to you every single moment that they have the opportunity to. So, White Sox with an emphatic win against the Minnesota Twins, or as CC Sabathia called them a few years ago, the weird-ass Minnesota Twins. And look, there is nothing more in life that I enjoy than beating the Minnesota Twins. I have 3 great pleasures in my life. Number 1, the sound that a golf ball has when it comes off of a cleanly struck golf shot. Number 2, the first sip of coffee in the morning. And number 3, the White Sox beating the Minnesota Twins. And look, I don't think anybody coming into the year would have thought that the White Sox would be 2-2 after 4 games. Again, small sample size, but the White Sox starting pitching right now is on another level. It is a small sample size, but, and this is a stat that has been pulled up by multiple baseball sources. Codified Baseball had it, and a couple of other sources had it. But the White Sox are the 5th team in MLB history to have their starting pitchers not allow an earned run in each of the first 4 games of the season. The others are the 1914 Boston Red Sox, the 1976 Milwaukee Brewers, the 2013 San Francisco Giants, and the 2019 Toronto Blue Jays. Through 4 games, the White Sox have a team ERA of .75. 0.75. And the Angels game yesterday, we should make mention of the 3 runs that they allowed, only one of them was earned. Davis Martin allowed 2 unearned runs in 6 innings of work. The White Sox starters have not allowed an earned run in 23 total innings so far this season. 3 total quality starts from the White Sox first 4 starting pitchers. And look, Martin Perez was the real one known quantity of this starting rotation. And I had said that he was going to fill the Chris Flexen type role. Well, Martin Perez may be a little bit better than that. He's the one left-hander in this rotation. He goes out today, 6 shutout innings, 6 hitless innings, ties his career high in strikeouts with 9, and walks 3. You'll take the 3 walks if you're not going to allow any hits. Mike Vassell in his major league debut gives up 2 hits, but 2 scoreless innings. And then Brandon Eisert comes in, and he ends up throwing a scoreless 9th inning and strikes out the side as well. White Sox pitchers had 13 strikeouts as a team today against those weird-ass Minnesota Twins. The thing that was impressive, though, for the White Sox is that the offense got started early. Very similar to what they did on opening day. First inning, Andrew Vaughn hits a 3-run homer. Finally good to see him get off the deck. Bottom of the second inning, White Sox get a runner on, Luis Robert with a sacrifice fly, and then Andrew Benintendi with a 3-run homer, a 4-run bottom of the second, and then Michael A. Taylor with a 2-run homer in the bottom of the third. The White Sox didn't score after that, but they didn't really need to. So, for me, the way that I am looking at where this team is right now, they quite simply are feast or famine offensively. And that's fine given what you expected from this team. But what they're doing is finding ways to take advantage of when they're swinging the bats well. This team should be better than 2-2 through 4 games based upon how their starting pitching has gone. And really, it was a complete effort from the entire lineup today. I think that when you, as a lineup, can draw 5 walks, have 8 hits, and 3 of them be home runs, you're doing a lot of good. Now, I will also say this. I still don't like the lineup that the White Sox are putting out against right-handed pitching. I don't understand why Corey Lee is not starting against right-handed pitching. That's 3 straight starts for Matt Thaiss, all against right-handers. The 1 start for Corey Lee was against a left-hander, and maybe Will Venable is more comfortable with Matt Thaiss at this point. That could definitely be the case. But what we're seeing is the White Sox are working the count better. And that's giving guys opportunities to come up with runners on base. And that's what Andrew Vaughn did in the first inning. I mean, you look at how the first inning unfolded, and to me, that's the story of what the White Sox have to do in order to be successful. Miguel Vargas leads off with a single, and Luis Robert Jr. draws a walk. The fact that Luis Robert is drawing walks is encouraging. Benintendi grounded out, but he moved the runners along. It wasn't a double play grounder, and he moved both runners into scoring position, and then Andrew Vaughn ends up hitting the 3-run homer. In the second inning, Travis Jankowski finds a way to get on base with a bunt hit. Michael A. Taylor in a right-on-right situation gets a single. So you got 2 runners on with nobody out. Small ball for the White Sox is really important, and I think that this is something that Will Venable has learned throughout his time as a player and his time as a coach. I'll give a lot of credit to what Bruce Bochy instilled in him through his time on the Texas Rangers staff. Jacob Amaya bunted into a fielder's choice. Now, look, it ended up not mattering in the long run, but the ability to bunt, I think, is going to separate some of these guys in terms of who gets more playing time, but I like the idea of bunting. I don't subscribe to the theory that you bunt to lose. I think that bunting has a role in the game. And I think you're seeing that Will Venable is valuing small ball. I think there's too much of a sample size of White Sox teams in the past being all or nothing. And I'm hoping that what this team is doing philosophically is trying to put runners in scoring position and avoiding double plays, getting the most out of what you have. And for somebody like Jacob Amaya, who is a below average bat, to have him in the 9-hole bunt with 2 on and nobody out, I have no problem with. I'd rather have him bunt into a fielder's choice and have the lead runner be out at third than him ground into a double play. Or him strike out and then you have first and second with 1 out and Miguel Vargas, who would have been the next batter, ground into a double play. But after that, Vargas walked. Robert hit a sac fly to center, and then Benintendi, the next batter, homer to right. That's a 4-run inning. Third inning, started the same way. Matt Thaiss, leadoff walk. 2 outs, Taylor homers to center. So I think that the White Sox approach at the plate is patient but aggressive. And I think that's all you wanted to see from this team. The 3 innings that the White Sox scored, the leadoff hitter reached safely all 3 times. And to me, that is something that you would not see at all last year. Getting the leadoff hitter on is critical in any inning when you're trying to string together a rally. It's the old cliche, get him on, get him over, get him in. The White Sox got him on, got him over, and got him in. With this lineup and this roster constructed the way that it is, you are going to have to win around the margins offensively in order to win games. This is not a lineup that is going to out homer you. This is not a lineup that is going to out extra base hit you. Where this lineup can win is by not striking out, by drawing walks and working the count, and by moving runners along. I think the biggest story to me of the game today, the White Sox didn't hit into a double play. They only left 5 runners on base. They were 2 for 4 with runners in scoring position. To me, that is taking advantage of what you are setting yourself up to do. Right now, it's fun baseball to watch. And especially when you get the type of performance that Martin Perez had today, I don't know if you're going to get that kind of performance the rest of the year, but if you can rely on your fourth starter to come out there and deliver that type of performance, this starting rotation through 4 games has been incredible. I would say that Perez had the best start of any of the 3 starters. And at this point in time, we are understanding what the White Sox philosophy was when they put this rotation together. It's we are going to let young guys develop and have a veteran that we hope will give us good innings every other start. That's what you get out of a fourth starter. Martin Perez may just be somebody that the White Sox have found a diamond in the rough with. Now, it was really cold outside today, and maybe the White Sox pitchers feel like they have an advantage pitching in the cold because of the fact that the ball is not going to fly and the ball is not going to jump. But you look at what Martin Perez did in terms of the type of outs that he was getting. Looking at the box score here, he got 3 flyouts, 2 groundouts, 9 strikeouts. Keeping the ball on the ground for the most part. And just feeling like he was in command of his stuff. And it's important when you find a way to get in a groove. You retire the side in order in the top of the first inning on a ground out, a line out, and a fly out. Then in the second, you retire the side in order again, ground out, fly out, and strike out. And that's where you feel like when you're in that groove to where, okay, I'm comfortable, I'm settled, I'm getting soft contact, then you can start working both sides of the plate. That's when you get a strikeout, a pop out, and a fly out in the third. And then you start getting guys to strike out. Martin Perez is going to end up being our number 1 pinwheel of the game, but we're going to award those momentarily. But first, a brief comment on the Minnesota Twins. A 4-game sample size is not something that you can look at a team and say, all right, this is 100% what this team is going to be. But the Minnesota Twins have been awful through 4 games. They are 0-4. They have scored 6 combined runs in 4 games. 6 combined runs. Now, the White Sox have not been that much better overall. They've also been shut out, and they only scored 2 runs yesterday against the Angels. But they also have a game where they scored 8 runs and a game where they scored 9 runs. So the White Sox are 2-2. I'm trying to do the math in my head. With 19 combined runs scored in 4 games. That's averaging just a little under 5 runs a game. If you were to say through 4 games that the White Sox are averaging under 5 runs a game, just under 5 runs a game, I don't think that you would have any issue with that. The Minnesota Twins are averaging just over, actually, they're averaging exactly a run and a half per game. And at this point, You look at somebody like Chris Paddock, who just got rocked today, and Rocco Baldelli decided, I'm just going to let him wear it. I'm surprised that was the case. Now, the Twins bullpen came in. Darren McCacken did a really nice job, 2 2/3 out of the bullpen. He at one point was a minor league starter. I don't know if this Twins team is bad, but Carlos Correa left the game early. Byron Buxton left the game early. You hope that both guys are okay and are not hurt too seriously, because those are two of the more exciting guys in baseball when they're playing at their best and when they're healthy. And we know that Buxton has had his injury problems over the course of his career. But over the course of 9 innings, this Minnesota Twins team had just 2 total hits. They might be bad. The Twins might be bad. And now it is time to award our 3 pinwheels of the game, as we see the graphic pop up to the left of me, which on the screen, actually it's to the right of me. But anyway, it's time for our 3 pinwheels of the game. Our third pinwheel is going to go to Miguel Vargas. Miguel Vargas did exactly what you wanted out of a leadoff hitter today. Started the game with a single, had 2 walks, looks like he's more comfortable in that role, and is good working the count. That set the table for what happened with Vaughn in the home run in the first inning. And to me, when you have somebody that can set the tone at the top of the lineup, that's exactly what you want from a leadoff hitter, is somebody that's patient and finds a way to get on base multiple times a game. So Miguel Vargas, that's our third pinwheel of the game. Our second pinwheel of the game, Michael A. Taylor, 2 for 4, a home run, 2 RBI, and 2 runs scored. I was hoping they would start Austin Slater today. Slater ended up pinch hitting a little bit later in the game, but Michael A. Taylor, when he makes contact, he makes good contact. And he is a plus bat, a plus defensive outfielder when he is playing well. And he's also pretty fast. I'll say plus bat when he's playing well. There are times where he cannot hit a breaking ball to save his life. But Michael A. Taylor, great performance out of the 8-hole today. He is our second pinwheel of the game. And our number 1 pinwheel of the game, Martin Perez. 6 innings, no hits, 3 walks, 9 strikeouts, tying a career high in strikeouts. He had 93 pitches, which is why he didn't end up throwing more. But assuming that he'll get stretched out over the course of the next couple of starts, if you get the kind of stuff from him over the course of the year that you got today, you have a surprisingly good rotation if this is what you're getting out of your 4th starter. And that is our 3 pinwheels of the game. So we do also have to talk about the White Sox loss to the Angels on Sunday, 3-2 down at Rate Field, and another phenomenal performance by a White Sox starting pitcher. Davis Martin was fabulous. The only 2 runs he allowed were a pair of unearned runs thanks to a Jacob Amaya error. White Sox infield turned 3 double plays once again. That was the second straight game, going back to the Saturday game against the Angels, that the infield turned 3 double plays. White Sox offense was minimal. Both runs that they scored came in the second inning, or rather in the bottom of the first inning, I should say. Nick Maton hit a leadoff home run, and then Matt Theis had an RBI single as well. The White Sox should have probably ended up getting more in that inning than just 2, but the backbreaker in this game came after a very long rain delay. And the White Sox went viral on social media because of the fact that they weren't able to get the tarp all the way on the field. The fact that they were able to actually finish the game was remarkable, considering there was a significant amount of the field, at least on the first base side, that gets soaked. And let me tell you, as somebody that used to work in minor league baseball, when it gets really windy and you don't have enough guys to put the tarp on the field, it gets really hard to actually get that thing on the field. So no hate for the sod father, Roger Bossard, on this show or on any show. White Sox grounds crew is one of the best, if not the best, in all of baseball, and just an unfortunate moment for them to not get the tarp on the field all the way, but I just know, having pulled tarp many a time in my day, that it can get difficult when there is a significant amount of rain that's come down and the wind gets coming down as well. Two things can be equally true. Cam Boozer can have really good stuff. He also can be really, really home run prone. And that has seemingly been the case for him so far. He ends up giving up a homer to Kyron Paris in the top of the eighth inning. And this is just one of the issues, I think, with the three batter minimum rule, is that you cannot play left on left as much as you'd want to. And Cam Boozer is somebody that'd be very comfortable in a left on left situation. But so far this season, he has given up a pair of home runs to right handed hitters, and he strikes guys out. There's no question that he's got the type of stuff that you can strike guys out on. He has punched out 5 of the 6 outs that he's recorded this year. But the fact of the matter is that he's given up 2 home runs already. And that is concerning to me. And when you think about the fact that the White Sox have allowed 3 total earned runs the entire year, the White Sox as a team have only allowed 4 total runs. 1 run on opening day, 1 run in game 2, 3 runs, or that's 5 runs total. So they've allowed 5 total runs all year, including the shutout today. 2 of them have come courtesy of Cam Boozer. But Bryce Wilson was good pitching on back-to-back days, and Frazier Ellard was good making sure that it stayed a 1-run game going into the bottom of the 9th inning. But give credit, the back end of this Angels bullpen is good. Ben Joyce, he's rock solid. Brock Burke, also a really solid left-handed arm. And again, Kenley Jansen got into trouble in the 9th inning, but the White Sox were not able to get anything off of him. And again, it's this feast or famine offense. White Sox were 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position against the Angels on Sunday. And you feel like in a game that you lose by 1 run that you should have been able to convert more opportunities. Again, perspective is important. The starting pitching's been great. Other than a really unfortunate bounce of the ball in the 8th inning on Saturday, the White Sox could have potentially won that game. I would say that it was more likely that the White Sox should have won on Sunday than it was the game I went to on Saturday. The White Sox are 2-2. They should be 3-1. So there are still issues with this offense, but the fact of the matter is that you've got 4 games under your belt and you've scored 8 or more runs in 2 of them. You've also scored 2 or fewer runs in the other 2 of them. But perspective being key here, you'll take what you've gotten so far. A couple other things that I do want to talk about, and I talked about it a little bit in our postgame pod on Saturday, but Matt Thaiss got his 3rd straight start behind the dish. And I am going to head down to Rate Field tomorrow night for a night game between the White Sox and the Twins. It'll be Shane Smith making his Major League debut for the White Sox against the veteran Pablo Lopez for Minnesota. Actually, it is not going to be Pablo Lopez. Lopez is going to go on Wednesday. So I am not sure who is actually starting for the Twins tomorrow night. It is going to be Simeon Woods Richardson, who is a former 2nd-round pick of the New York Mets. Woods Richardson was part of their rotation last year. I got to say, I cannot remember this guy, but he sounds like a guy that'd be a 5th starter. And then on Wednesday, the matinee day game down at Rate Field, it'll be Sean Burke against Pablo Lopez to finish up the series. But a couple of other things that I do want to make note of. Matt Thaiss has started 3 straight games. It is more evident after 4 games that the White Sox catching situation is going to be a complete platoon. They are going to start Theis against right-handed pitchers, and they are going to start Corey Lee against left-handed pitchers. Maybe that philosophy changes. Now, if Matt Theis starts tomorrow night, my guess is that Corey Lee will start Wednesday because it'll be a day game after a night game. If Corey Lee starts tomorrow night, my guess is that Matt Theis will start on Wednesday. So I think you will see Corey Lee start at least one of the final two games of this series, just based on the fact you've got a day game following a night game. But I think it'll be pretty evident that whoever starts tomorrow will not start on Wednesday. And then we'll see how the rotation stacks up for the Tigers series, who ends up actually getting the first start behind the plate on Friday night in Detroit. I will say this, there is no way that Matt Theis is going to start against Tarek Skubal if Skubal ends up starting in the series, and more than likely the way that the rotation sets up, Skubal will be missed in this series. So, have not looked that far ahead yet, but it looks like catching is going to be a complete platoon. The other thing that, on the catching side of things, is that Kyle Teel had a hell of a first week down in Charlotte. He was named as the AAA Player of the Week. And I'm pulling up his stats here because I had them saved. He went 6 for 12 with 2 homers and 9 RBI in the first series of the year for Charlotte. I have no issue if Kyle Teel is not on the Major League roster right away. Everybody's like, call him up. He's doing so great. He's off to a tremendous start, and he's the catcher of the future. He very well might be. But again, until we know that this White Sox team can compete, there's no reason to waste a year of service time. Now, once you get to that point in May where the service time clock expires, depending upon how Matt Theis is playing, I am totally fine with them bringing up Kyle Teel then. But until then, there's no reason to waste any service time on him. And not to mention, you also don't want him to be in a position, if they are truly going to platoon at catcher, you don't want him in a position to where he's not playing every day. He's somebody that should play every single day. And that's fine with me if that's in AAA for now. But he should be on the big league roster before the end of the year. He's too good at this point to not be on the big league roster at some point. Based on the way that Chase Mydroth is playing, I think a lot of people would say that for Chase Mydroth as well. If you're looking at what you're getting from the two position groups right now, your middle infielders and your catchers, what's more urgent to have support at the moment? I would say middle infield. Jacob Amaya's bat is a 0. At least for a major league hitter, he's not the type of guy that you want playing every day. Made a really good defensive play at shortstop earlier today, but in my opinion, he's not somebody that you want playing every single day in terms of a guy that is going to get a majority of the bats at a premium position like shortstop. So at some point, Chase Mydroth better be up here as well. Other than that, I mean, it was good to see Andrew Vaughn finally get off the deck and find a productive at-bat today. I also think it was good that Will Venable decided to sub some guys out late and get a few guys some other at-bats. I still want to see Austin Slater start against a right-hander. I want to see Austin Slater start tomorrow night. He's on this roster for a reason. Don't just platoon him against lefties. You can make the argument that Michael A. Taylor should also start. If you got a corner outfield of Michael A. Taylor and Austin Slater tomorrow night against a right-handed starter, I have no problems with that. I also have no problems with the fact that the White Sox are DHing Andrew Benintendi when they are. Both of the White Sox wins have come when Benintendi's been the DH. He is not a good enough defensive outfielder to where he is worth putting in the outfield every day. So if you have the opportunity to DH him and still have a solid defensive outfield, fine by me. Travis Jankowski is not going to give you much in terms of what he provides offensively, but I'd rather have him out in the outfield. If he's going to end up starting, if you're going to start him anyway, don't start him at DH. Put him in the outfield. I really don't have that much else to say other than that. I think that what you're seeing from this team right now is a team that is embodying their manager, and all of the vibes coming out of the White Sox clubhouse right now are fantastic. I want to go back to this. I'm going to pull out a tweet that I saw from Scott Merkin just a couple of moments ago. And this was a quote from Martin Perez. And I think that this is really telling in terms of what the White Sox believe, what they can do. Perez says, quote, "I know it's too early, but we are thinking of something special late in September. Let's see how everything is going." This is a confident team. This is a team that I don't know what Will Venable has done, but it seems like the culture has flipped a 180 from where it was the last couple of years. And I think that culture is big. And having somebody that comes from the Bruce Bochy tree, there's a reason why the Giants won 3 World Series in the early 2010s. There's a reason why the Padres were as good as they were for as long as they were in the late 90s and early 2000s. Bruce Bochy knows how to manage, and he knows how to put the right coaches around him to be successful. Chris Getz has not done a lot of things right since he took over baseball operations late in 2022, or late in 2023, I should say. What he did get right is hiring Will Venable. Again, it's a small sample size, but what Will Venable has brought to this White Sox clubhouse cannot be measured right now. He is maximizing the talent of a team that, quite frankly, is not that talented. He's getting the most out of this team because he is preaching team baseball. He is preaching good fundamental baseball. The White Sox are playing small ball, and they have the belief that every time they go out there, they can win. The attitude is critical to what this team is doing right now. And I am all about it. I'm all about what this team is putting out there in terms of attitude. Because if you're going to continue to get this type of attitude and having this type of positivity with everyone around you, every member of the media, every baseball pundit there is saying that you're going to suck again, that you're going to have an improved year and still lose 110 games. It takes a special kind of person to be able to come in and be able to flip the narrative around an organization that has basically been beat into the ground for the last year and a half. This team may not have that much talent, but in the words of Kurt Russell playing Herb Brooks, you don't necessarily have enough talent to win on talent alone. And the White Sox don't have that. But you still can win. You still can win if you play the right type of team baseball. And that's why I have more hope for this team than I have at any point in the last 2 years. That's it. That's all. We will probably do another 2-pack post game after the day game on Wednesday, just because of the fact that it's going to be a short turnaround following the Tuesday night game going into the Wednesday afternoon game. So might as well just recap both games in one fell swoop like we did today. So White Sox are at 2-2, and they are feeling feisty. Thanks, everybody. We will talk to you Wednesday afternoon.